Go.
Cool. So my name is Sam Holland. I'm a product manager for Advertising.com. So Advertising.com is the technology behind AOL for their entire advertising arm for AOL, TechCrunch, MoviePhone, all their O-Node properties, among another 6,000 publishers and a couple thousand advertisers that we work with too. So right now, Advertising.com, we work with 85 of the top 100 Ad Age's advertisers. With that, we work with 74 of the top 100 ComScore sites, and probably total about 4,000 to 6,000 on a given month total publishers that we work with. Since we are here talking about data, it's all about the users. Who can you target at the right time at the right place? We have over 350 prepackaged audience behaviors that you can target on any given day, whether it be pet lovers, auto intenders, cat lovers, people looking to buy electronics. There's countless and countless audience behaviors you guys can target with your given campaign, depending on the type of business you're in, what type of advertiser you are, and who you're trying to target. With that, we can reach over 180 million users a month. That's about 85% of the total U.S. population. So we're here to discuss about how you target your customers. And we all know if you don't have a customer base, it's hard to gain money and earn revenue, right? So to do that, it's really about the data, right? Data. We constantly collect data on top of data every single day. We have several ways of doing that. And if anybody wants to jump in anytime, please feel free. I don't want to set up here and lecture. It should be more like a conversation. But really, you have first party way of collecting data and third party. First party being you being a publisher, right? So you have visitors that come to your website. You have people that register, that sign up, email, what have you. Anybody that visits your site, we can then tag them, and we know what type of user they are, and then retarget them down the road. We do this among all our AOL properties, among all our networks. So, out of the 6,000 publishers we work with, a lot of them have, retargeting pixels on their page. So, anytime one of you guys, go to that site, we can then tag you that you were a Zappos customer, or a Verizon customer, and then, you ever notice you go to Zappos.com, and then 10 minutes later, you're actually getting served a Zappos ad. That's because we tagged you, we know what type of user you are, and then reserve you that creative or that product down the road. And then again, you can also work with third-party data providers such as BlueKai, Xlate, BrightTag, Demdex. These are people that they strictly manage and mine data for publishers. So we do this in-house, but we don't sell the data out to other advertisers. We only use that data with the advertisers we're working with. And then also we partner with ComScore, so we have not only user data, we also have site data. So not only can you target users that index, or that we actually tag as household income of 50,000 or higher, a zip code 21230, and they're also a pet lover, but you can also target sites that index high with those user demographic. So really depending if you want to target the site or the actual user. Yes.
You have thousands of publishers. I'm not sure I understand what you mean by publisher.
Yeah, a publisher being a website. So in our world, when we say customers, we actually have really 3 different customers. So we have advertisers, the people that have the money, that are looking to spend money. We have our publishers that have the actual space for us to serve the ads, right? So we're in the middle. We take the money, we take the ads, we serve it onto the publisher's page, and then we have everybody in this room, the users, right? The everyday internet users that we actually serve those ads to.
Puts content up on the web.
Correct.
Could be a
so
blog,
you have content builders who actually have a website with ad space that we actually serve the ad to. And then you have the advertisers who are actually paying money to have their ad served. And then we have everybody here who's actually traffic going to that website to get served the ad. So it's our job to take the money, funnel it in, using all the data we have collected on everybody below, and then serving that ad to the right person at the right time on those publisher sites. Does that make sense? So some different types of data that we collect every single day. Demographic data, so we have countless and countless of audience segments on people's age group, household income, what kind of occupation they're in, geo. So we have over, is it like 7,000 zip codes right now? We have different geo segments for every zip code, every DMA, every state, every really city. It's countless segments that you can target, and then also technographic insights. So on the user, if you want to target a certain user based on their browser or domain or hardware they're using, and then again behavior segments. That being if you're a pet lover, auto intender, what have you. And then, like I already mentioned, this is both user and site data level of granularity there. So, not to get too, I don't know how technical everybody is in this room, but back to first-party data. So, how are we actually collecting the data? So, one of the methods we use is through a pixel. So we actually give the advertiser a pixel, which is really just URL call to our cookie server, right? So let's say Verizon is an advertiser we're looking to work with, and they're looking to retarget their users. So we give Verizon a pixel to place on their page. You go to their page, our pixel fires, which then hits our pixel server, and then we return back to the browser an element. Yes.
For the non-technical folks like me, so when you say pixel fire, so when I go to the website,
yes,
and the HTML code is being read,
yes,
that triggers a response.
Yes. So you go,
and that extracts information on my computer. What happens?
Right. So let me just take a step back. So you can go to any advertiser's page and bring up like a simple like Firebug, like if you use Firefox, and you actually see all the different pixel calls that are happening. I mean, a given advertiser probably has 70 to 100 different calls happening with every page load, right? So what that does, when the browser actually executes that pixel, it calls out to our browser and say, hey, here's a new user, please respond back with a cookie that we actually set in the user's cookie, right?
So the pixel doesn't extract any data from me yet?
No, so that's all done by our pixel server. Yeah, so then what happens is we respond back to the user's browser with an actual element that we place in your cookie. So as an internet user, you can go to your browser's cookies and you'll see hundreds of different cookies from Google, from AOL. I mean, there's just tons and tons. And you actually go into your cookies and see what's being set. And at any given time, I'm in hundreds, if not thousands, of different segments daily, right? So I'm a user that I never delete my cookies because I like getting served, relevant ads. But users that do delete their cookies, their ads might not be as relevant to them because they're constantly getting put in new populations every single day. Does that resonate? Yeah.
Is there any kind of technology that exists to backlog the cookies even if you do delete it?
No, so that's against privacy issues. So the user has the ability to either delete their cookies daily or not allow us to track. So there's actually a big movement right now in DC called Do Not Track, and there's push for not allowing any essentially ad network to track the users whatsoever. Could be detrimental to the advertising industry, but people that are working that law, I feel like it's not going to get pushed through. But I mean that is kind of a big movement right now. Do not track.
How many people here have a web-based anything, have a blog or something? And how many of you guys actually use your cookies? Do you take over your cookies at all? You do? One, maybe two. Is that?
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, basically, so we're collecting data on you guys every single second of every single day, and then we're using that data to then retarget you guys within our network of 6,000 sites. So basically, I'll give you guys a quick demo, or not really. It's not going to show in the live environment, but what as an advertiser yourself.
Are you downloading cookies on my computer?
Yeah, right. Where's the mouse?
You want to go down to what? Did you open Safari Apps? Safari's on the right.
So this is actually called advertising.com ad portal. This is a self-service application that I manage here at advertising.com. It gives an advertiser the ability to set up self-service campaigns to target any users they wish. So you can set your budget, you can set the user segments you're willing to or you want to target, your geo, the targeting capabilities are pretty endless. So I'll just hop into a test account real quick.
How many people don't generate money on the website? I know you, Eli, does. Anyone else? Nick, you don't?
Advertising? No.
No, right. Anyone else?
So, yeah, so basically the build right now, let's say, right now we're in election season. Obama wants to set up a campaign. We actually do probably 100 to 300K with Obama a month right now. So they can hop into this interface and say, okay, I want to set up a campaign for $10,000. I want to target specific congressional districts. So they can actually select right here, scroll down, and then actually select which districts they're looking to target. California, Colorado, any state here. So we actually have data on users that you're going to actually, you can, let's say you're running in Maryland, we can say, okay, you're going to hit everybody in this room because you're selecting, I don't know, like the Towson, Baltimore district, right? So you actually know that the money you're investing, hopefully you'll see that return and some actions from those users. Again, you can target zip code, the entire country. You can do a set of states, DMA, which is the regional market. You also have the ability to target individual sites within our network or prepackaged sites. This is what I was already discussing before, a demo or audience behaviors. So target people that have specific online interests, whether you're active gamer, academic minded, auto insurance intender. I mean, the segments are endless here.
This is all from one cookie on my computer, or are you?
So yeah, we only manage one cookie, right? But then within that cookie, we have countless segments that we add, elements that we add to that cookie, right? So every certain publishers can drop several different cookies.
Okay, so you said affluent. So how do you figure out affluence? What are the things on the available ones? I mean, Keller, I think.
If you're affluent?
Yeah, it said affluent something or.
Right. I mean, depending on like the sites that you go to, we might tag that site as an affluent site. So then when you go to that site, we'll tag you with the affluent user segment, right? If you go to like games.com, we're going to tag you with the active gamer segment, right? So then when we see you across the network at another gaming site, we can then serve you, the new Halo ad. So this is how you can actually target those users from a self-service perspective. We also have a full-service team that manages these campaigns on a day-to-day basis. Another use case that's very interesting that I manage is a thing called Smart Pixel. Yes.
What's the $1.25 bid? Can you tell me?
Okay, yeah. So I mean, if you actually go in and select, let's try to get something that has some impressions. I don't think I've ever selected any sizes. Now my tool isn't working as expected. Shocker. Okay. Well, basically, what's supposed to happen right now is based on the segments you select, the impression estimator will say, you can deliver 1 million impressions over the course of the next 5 days. In order to do that, you need to bid at least $1.25 per 1,000 impressions. An impression being one ad you're serving. So every time you see one ad on the side of the screen, that's one impression. And the way the industry works is we charge you for every 1,000 impressions, being a CPM, which is a cost per 1,000 impressions.
It's $1.25 for 1,000 views.
For 1,000 impressions.
So page refresh adds another impression?
Yes. So there's actually logic you can set up where you say, Sarge, we don't want to serve more than 3 impressions to you in 24 hours. So though you refresh 3 times, we might serve you 3 impressions, but then after that, after that 3rd time, we're not going to serve you another ad for at least another 24 hours. That way you don't flood your customers over and over again, right? Because the more you see an ad, the less likely you're actually going to click on it and convert, right? You just kind of get annoyed and say, okay, it's the same ad over and over again.
But the notion of a bid means that you could be outbid. Right?
Correct. So the way our technology actually works, it's basically a competitive marketplace. So let's say we're working with 10 advertisers. Every advertiser has their own bid. Verizon, let's say they want to bid $3. AT&T is bidding $2.50. Any other telco, T-Mobile, and what happens is we get a call for an impression, and then they say, oh yeah, we need to serve a telco impression. This is a user that wants to buy a new phone, so let's serve like a Verizon or AT&T or T-Mobile impression. And then our actual optimization engine sees that and says, okay, we have a $2.50, a $3, and a $3.50 bid. $3.50 bid wins, serves that impression.
So Google AdWords, you're bidding on the search terms, or you're really bidding on the particular demographic that you're trying to target.
Yes.
So,
but this is this display versus search.
Right.
So you got Massachusetts and Mississippi.
Yes.
So if you're trying to reach people in Massachusetts, there might be, let's say, more competition there. So it'd be a higher price to reach those guys. And Mississippi, nobody wants to reach
No, the price can change, but so let's say we start out with the United States, we have 10 million impressions total. I mean, this is totally figured with 10 million, right? So you have 10 million in your pool. Okay, now I want to target Mississippi. That 10 million gets shrunk to 10,000.
Right.
So there's only 10,000 total impressions you're actually that you can serve. Your bid isn't going to change. It's just your actual available inventory to serve that impression shrinks.
So do I compete against other people trying to get into Mississippi, or compete against the nation?
Yeah, I mean you can compete against other advertisers that are running and targeting Mississippi users. Yes.
So is it? Sorry. Just by time of day, if there's not many people on the web, price goes down?
So your price is fixed.
Fixed for
the life of the campaign.
Just based on bid. It's just
the life of the campaign. So if you say I want to run a 5-day campaign,
yeah,
and I'm willing to pay $1.25 for this many impressions, we're going to bid $1.25 every single time, and you're going to pay $1.25.
So the bid is not your company. Your company
Yes.
is placing the bid on my behalf against someone else.
No, it's all within our network.
Okay.
So so we're taking, let's say you four all have your own product you're looking to advertise, and you all want to advertise with AOL. So we're gonna choose which ad to serve that has the best outcome for both us and for you. It has the best return for your campaign, and also generates the most revenue for us and for you.
So if you're bidding less than other people, you're not going to get any impressions, and you won't spend any money.
Correct. If you bid 50 cents, you're not going to really hit the demo you want to hit.
So if you fall through, so if like somebody's bidding $2.50 and I'm bidding $1.25, but they're at a limit of 3, after it shows 3 times, then do I get to go up?
Yep, exactly. It just follows. It's just a competitive marketplace. So you have 10. If the guy at the top already served the 3 impressions, he's out the door. The next guy. Then he served their 3. Okay, next one, and it just keeps going down.
You still get a chance. But
Yes.
Somebody
correct.
hires you to
Yep.
So then, say I bid $1 and my budget's $100. Potentially, you could come back and say we only spent $80 because you got outbid.
Right, but our goal is to spend all $100, right? So that's what you contracted with us.
Why would you bid more if you're going to get served eventually to the market that you specified? Like, I guess I don't know what I'm bidding against. Why would I pay more money?
Well, I mean, the higher you bid, the possibility of you serving more impressions.
Do you ever know where you are in the queue? How high up?
No.
You don't know.
Wouldn't the higher bid result more targeted impression?
Yes.
I think
Yeah.
that's the answer
So-
to this question.
Yeah, so if you have a more aggressive, bid, you're going to be able to reach a greater audience and more impressions.
But you don't know
So-
if other people are bidding.
Correct. So the way it actually works in the competitive landscape today, this is how our network works. There's also like the real-time exchange, which we operate in Google, Yahoo, MSN, right? It's a second price auction. So they want you to bid as high as you feel comfortable. So I want to bid $5, but in the back of your mind, you know you're never going to pay $5. So if I bid $5 and you bid $3 in the next bid, I'm paying $3.01. So it entices you to bid more, knowing you're never really gonna pay that max bid. Does that make sense?
You're just gonna pay up to.
If everybody
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make
It
sense?
doesn't make sense. Why wouldn't you pocket the $2?
Well, you
Why would
will,
I?
but you're just saying you're willing to go up to that. If somebody else
Right,
is
you're
willing to go
willing,
to $5,
you're willing to pay
one
$5
cent,
for
right?
that impression, but you're never gonna pay $5 for that.
It's like the auto bid on eBay.
So you can pay it- you can
Somebody
pay-
else
Right,
comes in and tops
it's
it,
the
top
max,
them,
it's the
but
max,
just
it's
top
the
them
max
whatever.
bid concept on eBay.
Okay.
So for all the people here who have like blog and stuff and are serving cookies to their visitors and not using them, so what information does a cookie actually extract? What information? What does a cookie actually extract? For all the people that are serving cookies, but people coming to the websites and not taking advantage of their information, what information
Well,
can a cookie give you?
I mean, for those that have a website, then you have the ability to actually tag that user, right? So you can use a tool like AdDesk or AdPortal, or you can use Google AdWords, where they'll actually give you a pixel to place on your page. But if without that actual coding, you have no way to tag that user and retarget
But
that.
let's say, so when someone gets served a cookie, what does a cookie actually tell? What information does a cookie get off the user?
So
The browser,
at the very
operating system.
basic form, if it's you go to a website 123, you tag that user that they've been to their website, and then that way when you set up your remarketing campaign, you can then retarget that user on the network and say, okay, Joe Smith has been on my website. I see that he's tagged here. Let me reserve him.
How do you know it's Joe Smith? How do you know the name?
Well, I mean, it's not really Joe Smith. It's like user 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So you cannot get a name of someone.
Right? No, we
You
tag
get the
that
operating
user.
system. You find out the operating system of the machine or what browser they're on.
Yeah, yeah.
What else does a cookie tell?
I mean, we can, it's unlimited demo targeting, household income.
But can it look at like other cookies
what-
that you have stored in your browser?
No, it's all privacy protected. So we only know, what our cookies are reading. I can't. It's against privacy concerns to go in and read Google's cookie versus Yahoo's cookie versus Microsoft's cookie.
But let me
So
see
if
if
you're, go ahead, David.
let's see if my understanding is correct. If I've got a site, I'm setting cookies, and I do that so that I know that user's been there before.
Yep.
And I could identify that user if he's registered within my application.
Yep.
But if I'm not serving any ads, then none of this stuff you're describing is going to happen.
Well, no, I mean, you can still tag a user, but then you're just not, if you're not serving any ads, then you're not,
Not doing any of this stuff
You're
that
not.
you're describing.
correct.
Okay.
I mean, you can tag all the users you want, but until you actually go to retarget that user, you're not really getting any benefit
Right.
of tagging.
So there's a lot of sites that use cookies for much simpler one vendor tracking.
Right.
It doesn't interact with this system
With our particulars?
or systems like this.
Yeah, I mean, a
This
website can track you for whatever purpose they wish. I mean, most time it's used for retargeting purposes, so they can then, reserve you that ad. And, users that have been to your site are more likely to convert, right? So if you go to Zappos.com, you start searching for shoes, I don't want to buy a pair of shoes a day. Well, then 2 days later, we serve you another Zappos ad. You're like, oh, I just went to Zappos. I remember I looked at that new pair of boots. Let me click on this ad, then you convert, right? We're going to retarget you because you've already been there. You've already looked at the shoes. You're more willing to convert and actually buy a pair.
Yeah, I think I'm with you on that. But if I go to my church site
Right.
and the church doesn't serve me any Zappos ads.
Mhm.
They don't participate in advertising at all.
Right.
But it's set a cookie so they know that I'm that.
Right.
So
I mean, they can set the cookie all they want.
it just doesn't.
It depends on how they want to leverage it.
Right.
If, or not at all.
Yeah, I mean, they don't.
So say I don't need to do any advertising, but maybe somebody that's very in a similar industry, could I, if I had enough volume traffic on my website, allow them to set a cookie to my website? Can people do that?
Yeah, I mean, you can sell your data. Yeah, I mean, that's what people like. Back to. So back to like these guys.
Or you go to the prior page.
Yeah. Just go full screen. So like these companies, these third-party data providers like BlueKai, X8, Right Tag, they go into people like you that don't really care about, retargeting their users maybe, but you want to sell your data, sell your users. So they go and they place their pixel on your page and they collect data about the users that are going to your website every day, and then they can compile those users into certain segments and then resell them to other advertisers looking to target that audience behavior or whoever else. Does that make sense?
Zappos one of your clients?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, so
Yeah.
for example, like if
Yeah.
I'm on Nike's website or Under Armour's and I'm looking for shoes or I'm bidding on eBay, like they're probably going to recognize like that could be that I'm looking for shoes even if I'm not necessarily on the Zappos website. So it's easier for you guys to target me because I've been looking at shoes on
Yep.
every website but Zappos to
Yep.
serve me a Zappos ad, right?
Right.
But for somebody like Nick, Parking Panda, right, where everybody can use it and there's not necessarily one definitive type of web page that people who could use Parking Panda are going to be going to, how do you create a campaign for somebody who has that niche market like he does? And not only is it niche, but it's super small and it's basically
So I think
just
Nick,
right here.
I mean, Nick, you're really trying to target like certain geos, right? Like
Yeah,
people
so
that-
we
maybe
do a
can-
lot of stuff, like display advertising. I can tell you, it's harder to target for us. We can target geo, but it
Right.
doesn't convert that well if it's not time specific. So the things we target for display, the only time we display advertising is actually, we do post-purchase airline advertising. So if we do airline parking, like at San Francisco Airport. So if you buy a flight from San Francisco, on
Right.
the confirmation page after you buy your flight,
Right.
we'll show a display ad for parking at San Francisco's airport.
Right.
So like hyper-targeted, really specific on one site. That's the type of display advertising we do.
Gotcha.
I mean, and I've only touched on display, but this is all the same methodology for video, search, mobile. I mean, it's all the same.
Sam, it seems to me, I mean, the business model is pretty straightforward. Like, if you're trying to predict behavior, use data to make predictions.
Yeah.
Like, what's the cutting edge in that's like what is there a cutting edge in this field, or what's the most exotic thing someone's done? That no one else
So
has done
I
yet?
can't speak the most intelligent about it, but we
But
have
what
a
is the biggest
research.
thing that you've seen done?
Yeah, I mean, we have a research team out in Palo Alto that we actually built something called predictive segments. So actually combining. So what we're doing is actually tagging users. We know your behavior, but they're actually building segments based on predicting the type of behavior that
So the
users.
first time they
make.
see you, they make predictions on it.
Yes.
Without having-
Like, okay, we saw you at, at this behavior, but we're going to predict that you're going to also fall into all these different segments, and then they're combining all those segments together and then serving you.
So right now, you have to get a track record to make predictions. So
Yeah.
ideally, it's like the first time you meet someone, you'll be able to, based on certain function.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
And then I guess another, yeah, I mean, I had one more use case, but it's not really. Another way you can segment data. So like right now, a lot of basic retargeting is just you go to your website and it's like, okay, you're tagged with, let's just stick with Zappos. You're tagged with Zappos. That's it. We just know you're a Zappos user. We had a client come to us called IHG. They're a big hotel industry. They do Holiday Inn, Holiday Inn Express, Intercontinental, a bunch of different other hotels. And they wanted to do some really like custom retargeting where I don't want to just retarget a user that went to Holiday Inn with a Holiday Inn ad. So I actually want to target my users by certain geo. So I want to know if they search for like Baltimore, DC, New York, and Atlanta, and then I want to know what day of the week they searched on, and then what was like their budget, right? So then we can build an audience for them based on the city, their budget, and then what day of the week, and they say, okay, now I want to retarget those users that want to spend at least $300 for these 5 cities and are looking to book on a Friday. So it's really like custom, I guess what maybe something that you're looking to do, really finite audiences.
If somebody wants to get a hold of you, how can they reach you?
sam.holland@teamaol.com.
Thank you very much.
So in this case, they're actually looking at dynamically generated data from data that you entered into a form when you were looking at hotels and prices.
Yeah.
Right?
So again, we on say holidayin.com, you have all those different input parameters like day of the week, budget, all that. In the actual pixel that we give to the client, all those parameters are in the actual pixel call. So then when that fires to our pixel server, we're capturing day of week,